Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that, and also if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2023 related video here on my channel, and another Q&A, except this time I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm hoping that you'll answer some of my questions, and you can do that by leaving your answers in the comments section below or by contacting me via my other social media pages. As always, links in the description to those, check them out if you so wish. First things first, I want to say a big thank you for all of the support lately. It means a great deal, including on my most recent video where I talked about the 5-nation army, the 5 nations that could, emphasis on could, win this year's competition, which as we all know will take place this May in Liverpool in the UK on behalf of current champions Ukraine. I received many more comments than I thought I would. Many thanks to those of you who saw it, left a comment, told somebody about the video. It's all much appreciated. Anyway, getting to the point of this video. Over time, I'd like this channel to potentially become a bit more collaborative, by which I mean I don't necessarily mean sitting with somebody doing a collab, but actually opening the floor up, if you see what I mean, for debates and that sort of thing. And I think YouTube is a much better place to do it rather than Twitter, for example. So what I've got in front of me are 16 questions to do with Eurovision, some discussing the contest in general and some more specific about the 2023 edition. And what I'm hoping is that we can get a bit of a discussion going in the comments. I know that this is a very small channel, but the more answers the better, because in a future video, maybe by the end of this week, I don't know, I'll be reading out the comments that I receive. And I think it's just a really interesting way to think about the contest, talk about the contest, see what the general consensus is on certain things about the ESC. And like I said a minute ago, I think YouTube is perhaps the best place for this rather than Twitter, which I know can be a place full of petty arguments. So, with that being said, let me go through the questions. You are very, very welcome to type out your answers and let me know your thoughts. And like I said, I'll be reading through the comments in a future video. And I'd like to do more of this sort of thing down the line. So, question number 1. If Eurovision was to be staged in your country, where would you like it to be staged and why? Now, of course, it's very possible Eurovision has taken place in your country before, maybe several times in the past. If you're from the UK like myself, of course, it's in Liverpool in 2 months' time. But if it was to be staged in your country again, or maybe for the first time, which city would you like it to be staged in and why? Maybe this particular location has a very suitable venue and the atmosphere would be incredible. Maybe the city in general is fantastic and it would be wonderful if that location had an influx of tourists. Whatever it is, let me know what you think. That's the first question. If Eurovision was to be staged in your country, where would you like it to be hosted and why? Question number 2. This is more specific to 2023. Sweden are the favourites to win as of this moment in time. Personally, I think they'll remain the favourites to win. How would you feel if Sweden did win this year's competition in Liverpool? Would you feel overjoyed? Would you feel elated? Would you feel thoroughly disappointed? Would it be very anticlimactic? If it was a one-sided victory, how would you feel about that? Whatever it is, let me know. Question 2. If Sweden won this year, the favourites to win, how would you really feel about that? Question number 3. In your opinion, what is the worst/weakest part of the ESC? What part of the contest do you dislike the most? Is it the voting? Is it the intervals? Is it the hosts? Is it something else? And it doesn't have to be about the actual live show on the Saturday night. It could be anything to do with Eurovision in general. It could be the way national finals are put together. It could be the fact the contest takes place in May. It could be the fact that there's no orchestra. Whatever it is, let me know. Question 3. What's the worst/weakest part of the ESC? Question 4. What are your thoughts on people like myself, individuals on the internet talking about the contest? Are people too vocal? Should they be more vocal? Are they a little bit too over the top? Are they too restrained? Do they hold back with their opinions too much? Are there too many people making videos like myself? Whatever it is, let me know. What are your thoughts on YouTube reactors, content creators, whatever term you want to use, regarding Eurovision? Question number 5, this is a sort of follow-on question. What are your thoughts on the Eurovision fandom in general? Are people too vocal? I know I said that a minute ago. Are people not vocal enough? Is it toxic? Are some of the arguments on social media really, really stupid? Are there a lot of people that you've had to block because of their opinions? I don't know. Do you think that it's a very supportive, welcoming platform? A really welcoming, supporting place to be part of this fandom? Or do you think that actually it is rather quite toxic? Whatever it is, let me know. Question number 6. What is one thing that you would change about the ESC? Would you reintroduce the orchestra? Would you change the voting? Would you change when the contest takes place? Would you have it take place in the summer rather than in May? It could be anything. Question 6. What is one thing that you would change about the contest? Question 7. Do you prefer internal selections or national finals? Maybe for your country specifically, you have a preference in mind. Would you rather your country went from having a national final to something more internal, or vice versa? And based on the songs that you generally enjoy at the contest year upon year, do they come mostly from internal selections or national finals? Let me know your thoughts on this. Do you prefer internal selections or national finals? Question 8. This regards this year. What is your biggest grower and faller of this year's competition so far? I know that we're still about 2 months away from the competition taking place in Liverpool, but at this moment in time, which song has grown on you the most, and which song have you gone off the most so far this Eurovision season? I meant to put another question in here regarding that, and I completely forgot, so that will have to wait for another time. Question 9. Is there a cult classic Eurovision hit from your country? By which I mean, is there a song that was at Eurovision potentially decades ago that is still super popular? Maybe it's played at every party, every wedding, every major event. There's been loads of cover versions. It's always on the radio. And like I said, it could be 40, 50 years old. Is there a cult classic hit in your country? Let me know. Question 10. If you could attend a Eurovision national final, which one would you go to and why? Would you go to your own country's national final, or would you go somewhere else? Would you attend Benidorm Fest? Would you attend UMK in Finland, Supernova in Latvia? Would you go to Sanremo in Italy, even though strictly speaking it's not a national final? Let me know your thoughts. If you could attend one ESC national final, which one would you go to and why? Number 11. What are your thoughts on the terms overrated and underrated? Because I think we've all used those terms many, many times over the years when it comes to Eurovision. This song's overrated, this song's underrated, blah, 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 blah. This one's a sure qualifier. Terms like that. I hold my hands up, I use them regularly. But should we use them regularly? Is there such a thing as an overrated or underrated Eurovision song? Is it just a case of people like what they like and don't like what they don't like? Is it a case of a song is gaining a lot of buzz, but you don't really like it, so it means that it's overrated? Let me know. Number 12, very simple. What is your first Eurovision memory? Was it watching something on television? Was it buying one of the CDs? Did a friend tell you about it? Was Eurovision being staged in your city and you happened to find out about it that way? Whatever it is, what's your first Eurovision memory? Number 13. What is the attitude like in your country towards Eurovision? Is it positive? Is it neutral? Is it negative? What do celebrities say about Eurovision, if indeed they say anything about Eurovision in your country? What do people on the news say about Eurovision? What do people in the newspapers say about Eurovision? Is it positive, negative, neutral, whatever it is? Let me know. What's the attitude like towards Eurovision where you're from? Is it changing? Has it evolved? Let me know. Question 14. Is there a country you have a soft spot for? By which I mean, maybe you don't always like that nation's entries, but you always hope they do well anyway. Maybe a country like Malta or Cyprus or Latvia or the Czech Republic. Whatever it is there a country, not your own, that you always root for whatever reason? The last two questions now, bear with me. Question 15. Can you name one former Junior Eurovision participant you'd like to see take centre stage at the ESC? Now, maybe you don't follow Junior Eurovision, in which case you can gloss over this question if you wish. But if you do follow Junior Eurovision, let me know. Is there a Junior Eurovision act you'd like to see take the next step and perform at the ESC in the future? Maybe somebody like Sophie Lennon for Ireland, Malena for Armenia, Freya Sky for the UK. Somebody like that. Whatever it is, let me know. And finally, question 16. I could have had more, but like I said, I may do another video like this in the future. What have I written here? You'll have to bear with me, I can't even read my own writing. Oh, dear me. I can't even read that one. So do you know what? We'll leave it. We'll just have 15 questions, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to know what your answers are. And I will be reading out those answers in a future video and answering them briefly myself too. So let me just recap. Question 1, if Eurovision was in your country, where would you like it to be staged and why? Question 2, if Sweden, the favourites to win this year, did win, how would you feel about it? Question 3, what's the worst part about Eurovision? Question 4, what are your thoughts on people like myself who make Eurovision-related content on the internet? Question number 5, you can also say whether you'd do it yourself if you've never made YouTube content or anything like that. Question 5, what are your thoughts on the Eurovision fandom in general? Question 6, what's one thing you would change about the competition? Question 7, do you prefer internal selections or national finals? Question 8, what's your biggest grower and faller of this year's competition so far? Question 9, is there a cult classic from your country? Question 10, if you could attend a national final, which one and why? Question 11, what are your thoughts on the terms overrated and underrated? Question 12, what's your first Eurovision memory? Question 13, what's the attitude like towards Eurovision in your country? You can be specific about this year or any year in general. Question 14, is there a country you have a soft spot for at the contest? And finally, question 15, if you could have one Junior Eurovision act take the next step and perform on the big ESC stage, which one and why? Maybe there's a Junior Eurovision act from years ago who has become really famous in your country, and therefore you think it would be right for them to go to Eurovision at some point. That's it. A Q&A, but this time the tables are turned. I'd like you to answer those questions, because I'm always interested in what people think. I say this all the time in my videos. I really am interested to know what the thoughts are of other like-minded Eurovision fans. So, get your answers into me, either in the comments section of this video or via my other social media pages. I know it might require a lot of typing, but like I said, I'll be going through those answers in a future video, and hopefully we can have a very healthy discussion about all of those matters, because I'm interested in what you've got to say. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll be back with more Eurovision related content very soon. Until then, bye for now. Thanks for watching.